I I've struggled with an idea for a while, and it's how like everybody. This sounds so dumb. Just hold on. Give me a second. But it is crazy that everybody is a person. What I mean by that is when you're like a little kid and you just living your life, you know, you go to school and then you go home and then sometimes you play with your friends and sometimes you stay in and you watch cartoons. You know that you have a life. You know that you're a whole person, even if you don't have a full awareness of yourself. You know that you go to different places and you do different things. Even when you have a new experience, it doesn't even occur to you to be like, oh no, I don't do that. Because you're a kid just experiencing the world. But there are boxes that we put people in. I think it's completely unintentional. I don't think there's any malice behind it. But I remember the first time that I realized that someone who I definitely cared about and I definitely enjoyed their company and I definitely liked was a whole other person. I was a little kid. I was with my mom at the grocery store and we saw my teacher. And I was shocked. I was like, I said it out loud. I said it to her. Why aren't you at school? If you're here, then whose? It was a crazy thing in my head. My brain was breaking in that moment. I'm this little kid. I've only ever seen her at school. She's supposed to be at school. I shouldn't see her if I'm not at school. And she's over here buying groceries. I was like, you eat groceries? This is wild. And then she was over here having a conversation with my mom. They both ignored me asking why she wasn't at school. I still had questions. And then she, said she'd see us on Monday and walked away. And in my head, I was like, Monday? It's Saturday. She's not even gonna be at school tomorrow. Blew my mind that one of my favorite teachers had like a house. And like, I'd always heard about her husband, but I thought that's just something teachers say to like pass the time and stuff. She had a whole life. And it feels like a silly lesson to learn when you're a kid, and then you get older and you realize you have to keep relearning it over and over again because you meet more and more people and you've already boxed them in. And then they surprise you and then you think, oh, I'm a little ashamed I was even surprised. I should know from when I was like 6 that people are like, everybody's a person. But it's an easy lesson to forget because you can only sometimes see a person in a certain way, Like my friend, I have a couple friends now who they've got drunk with their parents, and it's a boundary that some people never break with their parents. Sometimes their parents are like, oh, I'm gonna have a couple drinks, but I'm not gonna be drunk in front of my son, you know what I mean? And then there are people who will always have that thing of like, oh, I don't want to be drunk in front of my parent. You know what I mean? It's like weird. I feel like I'd be in trouble. It's like, well, you're 42. Yeah, but still. I don't know. I don't want my mom to see me drunk. It's like, well, she saw you at your worst as a baby. I guarantee you drunk just brings you like one step above baby. But it was an interesting thing. My friend said that he got had a couple drinks with his dad. Now his dad was a sort of interesting case because when he was a kid, I don't know all the details, but his dad drank. And then there was something, whether it was something that happened or just like a general attitude towards drinking. At one point, his dad was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna drink anymore. And he went like cold turkey sober for years and years and years, right? So he drank pretty heavily when my buddy was a kid, didn't drink until he was long out of the house. And it wasn't until after my buddy graduated college that his dad would like drink once in a while, you know, have a drink with him. And finally one day, his dad was like drunk with him. And he noticed his dad like drunk. And he was like, it's crazy because I know my dad used to drink. And I can only see my dad as my dad. So knowing my dad is like an annoying drunk. I don't know. I guess I forgot he could be a whole person. Like, because his dad had this weird like rivalry with him when he was drunk. He, you know, walk up to him, impromptu, off of nothing. They're in the backyard. And he's like, hey, you know, looking good, young man, looking strong, looking tough. I mean, you looking real strong. You know, what? You think you're stronger than me? What? I mean, no, do you think you're stronger than me? We should race. You want to race? And he knows that a foot race with his dad sober wouldn't even be a contest. So he's like, nah, Dad, I'm good. He's like, no, come on. You know, if you're scared, say so. If you're scared, say so. If you're scared, the old man still got it. If you're scared, say so. Said he made it into one of the most annoying songs he had ever heard in his life. Just until he would raise him, if you scared, say so. And finally, he's like, all right, look, we'll race, fine. And he thinks if he stands up, his dad might just forget, you know, because he's at that level of drunk where he's on a mission, but not a mission he has to complete. Y'all know that mission. This is one of my favorite missions to watch people have on like a night out. You know, especially with like, but one of my favorite side quests in any night out that a bunch of ladies are having is finding one of their phones. One phone will go missing, and it will be the biggest deal in the world for 12 minutes. And then the person whose phone is missing will be like, let's just dance. It's like, all right, but you should go get your phone though. Like, you do need to call an Uber at some point and get home, like, we need your phone. It's like, yeah, but like later, like, I don't know, it's just like, I don't even care. It's like, this is my song. And then it resets, because then like several songs later, it'll be like, yeah, you look so good. I'm gonna take a picture of you. I'm gonna. Oh my God, everybody stop. Everybody stop. Not their friends, everybody in the club stop. Everybody stop. And so this dude stands up thinking like his dad's about to be over it anyway. And he's like, Dad, I really don't want to, like, we're having a good time. Like, let's just chill out. And his dad goes, no, race me. And he's like, all right, fine, okay. So they line up. And he's not really gonna race his dad. He's gonna like walk and let his dad win so he can feel good about being annoying for 15 minutes. But his dad stands up and he's ready. You ever see somebody look at a finish line like it's moving? Like, and then he said, all right, you ready? And they had already decided that his mom would say when to go. And so she said, go. And my buddy didn't even go. His dad took 3 steps and crashed into the patio table. And I don't know, yeah, it's gotta be tough. That's a moment that's like, you just know that now. You know your dad your whole life, and then now you're like, oh yeah, but like after the 5th Jameson, he will. You know. And it changes how you look at your dad a little bit, not even in the form of judgment, just like there's more information and you see him as like a whole person. You know good, you know bad, you know arguing with him, you know, and now you know this thing that you didn't really experience in the same way when you were a kid. Now you know. Even 4 Jamesons in, he's gonna go, no. Oh. Like I don't know if it's possible to remind yourself every time, every day, that a person is like a whole person. Because we are so distant. Person to person. Like when you meet someone that you've maybe heard about, you can only go off your impression. That impression is colored by whoever told you about this person. And it's hard to remember. I try to remind myself all the time that like, we're meeting this person. Nothing nice has been said. But I'm sure they have a dog. I don't know. Like some redeeming quality. You try to approach it like that. And, you know, I fail at it a lot. You know, sometimes I let, whether it's gossip or just like a preconceived notion, take over. And then you end up being friends with this person. And you feel even worse because you're like, oh, I judged you so harshly when we met. You know, some of my best friends, when I met them, hated their guts. I hated because I was just like, oh, just look at his face. One of my best friends from college, when we met, us meeting was me asking him for a pencil and him going, what? And so I just turned back around. I was like, all right, jerk. Turns out he just didn't hear me. We're like really good friends now, but yeah, that was not a great way to start. One of my best friends, we had that same thing. So he's a big dude. He's like 6'4", 6'5", like a strong guy, wide guy, right? Big dude. And we were both friends with a different guy. This is freshman year of college. And we had both done things in front of each other that made us go like, I don't know if I like that guy. Like I like our mutual friend, but I don't know if I like him. And then we kept being in scenarios where maybe we were waiting for our mutual friend, so we were left alone with each other. And in my head, maybe it's because of where I come from, and maybe it's because I've never been the biggest guy in the room, but this is a big old dude, and he doesn't seem like he liked me. So in my head, I was like, I just gotta act crazy. Like if I'm crazy, that'll keep at bay his size. Because even a big man doesn't want to get bit. You know what I mean? I don't care how big or strong you are. Once everybody saw what Mike Tyson did to Evander Holyfield, they were like, oh yeah, crazy wins. Crazy will always win. I like my whole ear where it is. And then he noticed me being crazy. And so he was like, all right, I'm gonna have to flex how big I am. There was one time where we were waiting on our mutual friend because, forgot to mention earlier, our mutual friend was his roommate. So I had to be in their room a bunch before we actually got along. And I don't know, I saw him like eyeing me, and this is a college dorm room. So there's not a lot of space. So I'm like, this big guy's eyeing me. We're both waiting for our friend. So then I didn't know what to do. So I just started singing lyrics to Kanye West's 808 on a Heartbreak. No music. Impromptu. And lyrics I chose were, when I grab your neck, I touch your soul. And I just sang it to the wall, but loud enough for him to hear me. And I would later find out that when I did that, he was like, all right, that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. In my entire life, I was trying to mug this dude into submission, but now he done sang to the wall, not even facing anything. I don't know what he talking about. Why'd he sing it too? That's crazy. That's crazy as hell. It's so much crazier to sing than it is to scream. Like if you come across somebody on the street and they scream it, you're like, all right, that's regular. If they are singing lyrics you don't know exist yet, because the album had just come out, if they're singing lyrics you don't know exist yet, get away. And so he was like, I gotta do something. Got to do something. And the thing that he decided to do was we both got a text from our mutual friend that it would be quicker for us to meet him where he was than wait for him to come back and us head out together. And so we decided to head out together. And while I'm in the hallway, it's a long hallway from the door room to the end of the suite. And when I'm in the hallway, I go, ah. And he says, what? And I'm like, I think a mosquito bit me. And I was being completely sincere in this moment. I started itching. I was like, what? And he's like, what happened? I think a mosquito bit me. And then he stands extra tall, every bit of 6'5", lets his eyes dart around the hallway and goes, you hurt my friend. And then he punched the wall as hard as he could. And when he moved his fist from the wall, there was a dead mosquito. And I was like, oh Lord, he big and crazy. Oh, I'm sick. Oh. And then we became best friends. We became best friends because we got to know each other. We got to know each other, and I got to know him as a whole person. I got to know how cool he was, how sincere he is, that he would do anything for his friends, including that mosquito thing. And he got to know me, and he still liked me. So we became best friends because I got to see like the whole person, you know? And then finally one day I told him about it. I was like, hey, you know, freshman year, because when we were juniors, we became roommates. And I told him, like, hey, I just want to get something off my chest. Freshman year, when I was in the room with you and I just started singing. I was just trying to be crazy because I thought like you were real big and like, I don't know, I had been bullied a lot, so I was just trying to like keep you at bay. And he was like, oh, that's so good to know. Which means in the time that we had become friends, he still thought like, no, that's what he does though. Like that's who he is as a person. I was like, that's so good to know, because honestly, I was wondering what I'd have to do. I thought you were genuinely crazy. And that's why I punched that wall. When I moved my hand, I couldn't believe the mosquito had actually... Wild stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's tough sometimes accepting that someone was like a whole person. Because it is easier. If someone sucks, it's easier to just, lean on exactly what you know, and that's enough for you, and they suck, and that's the end of it. It's not necessary in your mind to get down to the deeper root of the issue about why they might be the way they are. Whatever. They suck, and I'm done talking about them. Like when I think about some of the most powerful people in the world, I think that way all the time. I forget that it's like a whole person because they suck. They suck so much. Like, I do my best to not be closed-minded about people, but the more I learn, the worse it gets. And no person is just one thing. Even monsters. Some monsters that get true crime documentaries made about them. They'll interview the kids. And sometimes the kids will be like, yeah, actually, he was like a super present father and everything. Like, it was kind of crazy. I know he killed all those people, but he came to all my soccer games. Like, it's a lot to process. Well, like, I don't know what makes a person. I'm not a psychologist. I don't know what makes a person the way that they are. I just have guesses. Sometimes my guesses are good, and I get to have a conversation with the person and see that I was kind of close. And then sometimes my guesses are totally off base because I don't have their mind. I can't act like I know why someone is the way that they are. I know for certain because of the people that I've been around. I know that sometimes when you grow up with real money, real privilege, it can be very difficult unless you are like delusional enough to accept the position you're in as anything more than like the randomness of who is born to who. It's very difficult to feel like you've made or earned anything yourself. If you are just born into billions, you see that's one of the reasons these people have to like make their mark on the world to prove that they're not just like some accident. Because within those families sometimes, and like, look, I'm not acting like I know billionaires. I know millionaires. And it's a little similar, but at the same time, there are some millionaires that are barely millionaires, so they still acting like they're middle class. Even though they're millionaires, it's actually pretty sad. And then there are people that are like multimillionaires, and I don't even really know that many multimillionaires, but I know those people have at least accepted their position as people with like wealth and privilege, right? I don't know any billionaires. But I do know the people that I am friends with that work with like truly insane net worth individuals have said things like, at a certain amount of money, it's not even money anymore. It's just you moving your will throughout the world. And that is how people with that much money think. And so if you are like a child born into this thing, especially if you don't take to it the way that we imagine people will take to it, because remember, a person is a whole person, but a lot of people will have a kid and have an idea of a child before the child is ever there. And then that idea of a child is exactly what this whole person has to be, or else they're a disappointment, or else they're a failure, right? I had the idea of you before you were ever here. And the idea of you that I had was, we play these sports together. I teach you to do this thing. We go to these things. You love the stuff that I love. Those are the hopes of like every parent. Every parent wants to share the things they love with their kid, and hopefully the kid loves them too. Because as much as you love your sports team, as much as you love your favorite hobby, it'd be so much more enjoyable if the person you love the most loved it too. A lot of people have those hopes. That's common, that's normal. But this like world of wealth, they have an idea of maybe building a legacy, building an empire, and now whoever comes, whatever this child is, they will be someone who can uphold, build up, maintain the empire that I built. They're not having like a child, they're having a vessel to continue their wealth into the future. And that's got to be difficult to grow up in, because yes, you have all this money, you have all this privilege, you have access to all these different things, but there's a person looking at you like you don't even deserve to be here. And then there's everybody else that if you tried to tell them how it felt, they'd be like, oh, I'm sorry I couldn't hear you through all that money. You know? Cry me a river. You ever felt a penny before? And so you see people really trying to exercise out all of this trauma in a way where they still move their will throughout the world. So then we become the collateral damage of them trying to exercise demons, because they have the access to change the world the way that they see fit. And that leaves us in a very dangerous position. And I don't know exactly how to fix that, what to do about that, but I do know it presents itself in like little moments. Small moments where you can see, oh, this is like a kid. This is like a hurt kid. You know? Most powerful man in the world. Incredibly rich, billionaire. But this is a kid. This is a scared kid. This is a hurt kid. This is an angry kid. And I'm not saying that takes away all the damage, all the things that are being created by what this kid is doing. But like, I see you differently now. Like, in theory, I should be scared of you. I should be worried about what your next move is going to be. I should be worried if you're going to send someone to hurt me or my family, because you could do that. You're a very powerful person. But then things happen, and I see you react like a kid. And it's weird to see you as a whole person, you know? Like, I'm not going to... How do I put this? I could tell Trump was hurt by that South Park episode because the White House released a statement. There are school shootings where the White House doesn't release a statement. The White House released a statement. They were like, hey, look, South Park hadn't been relevant for a while now anyway. Nobody even watched. Ain't nobody crying. Nobody hurt. No. Like, I've watched... I watched Trump go to the Fed. He went to the Fed and he was with Jerome Powell. Now, Donald Trump put Jerome Powell in that position, all right? Donald Trump made Jerome Powell Fed chair, right? And now Donald Trump can't stand Jerome Powell and doesn't know who appointed him. And so, he goes to the Fed. I guess they showing him where they make the money, shred the money. I don't know why he needed to go. He goes on a field trip to the Fed. You know, this is a very funny thing about Donald Trump. He has been very rich his entire life, but he still acts like new money. I have expected Trump to see the money being printed in front of him and go, but this dude he's at the Fed with Jerome Powell, and look, you can say numbers. You can say numbers in whatever order you want. No, you can say numbers and he can say more numbers. You can say numbers, that's your right to say numbers however you see fit. Whatever numbers you like, you can say them in 4, 3, 3, 4. You can do whatever you want. Numbers are there for you to play with. Numbers serve at your pleasure, right? Say whatever numbers you want in whatever order you want, whenever you want. That will not make it math. And so Trump is talking to the media, and he just like throwing out numbers. He's saying numbers, right? Just, numbers, good numbers, and some bad numbers. Let's get those bad numbers out of there. Good numbers, more numbers, extra numbers, right? And quickly, almost immediately, Jerome Powell is standing off to the side, and he goes, "Oh no." Jerome Powell was shaking his head. You know those people who got like perfect pitch? Jerome Powell was shaking his head like somebody with perfect pitch going to karaoke. Like it's And look, this is not something that happens often. No, Trump's used to talking, and when he talks, people either nod or they stay quiet. And we saw this in spectacular fashion in like 2020. Because he would stand up there, and then the people next to him, the people behind him, sometimes you catch them being like, huh? Like they were still trying to process what he said. But then he would just be talking. And sometimes he'd even turn to them, look for some confirmation. What do you think about that? And then they would be like, we'll have to check. I've never had the taste of bleach in my mouth, but... I suppose anything's possible. These experts, these doctors, these people, they weren't doing the thing that they should have been doing, which was because he didn't just shake his head. He said it. He said it out loud. No, 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 no. No. Maybe we wouldn't be in this position if more people, and I'm not even talking about politicians right now, I mean more people, more people who have to deal with government had the courage to say, no, that's not how medicine works, no, that's not science, no, that's not English, no. A simple no is powerful, you know? And so sure enough, Trump hates Jerome Powell. Trump hates Jerome. Oh, he hates Jerome. Oh. Trump hates Jerome. Trump hates Jerome. Like, let Jerome. Trump hates Jerome Powell, so he hate him so good. Trump hates Jerome Powell so much, he did something he never does. He did something we haven't seen him do. Either time he's been president, he did something I didn't even think he was capable to do. Trump hates Jerome Powell so much. Through his teeth, he hate him. He hate him so much that Donald Trump did homework. Because he was saying the numbers, and he was saying the numbers, and he was saying the numbers, he was saying the numbers. And then Jerome Powell went, no. And even Tim Scott was next to Trump, nodding and saying yes, while he was saying no. Yes, with those big teeth, saying yes, swinging those teeth, yes. But Donald Trump heard Jerome Powell's no, and it was almost like he had practiced this. He was ready. He hates Jerome Powell so much. He hate him. And so he goes, huh? What? No. Oh, well, I have the paper right here. And then Donald Trump pulled out a piece of paper and handed it to Jerome Powell like it was checkmate. I had never seen this man prepared in his life. Usually, when Trump has a chart or a piece of paper, it's because he already has a point he's trying to make, and he's just using that to illustrate. Trump has never had a Trump card. This man pulled out the piece of paper. You could see even Jerome was surprised. He was like, paper? Reading? You saw Jerome had to break out the glasses for it. He was like, oh. And because numbers are numbers, because math is at least something that, even if you have bias, even if you have an intention towards an intended goal, the math will still make sense or not make sense. Something will be true or not true, right? And so even Jerome Powell, I'm not saying I know this man, I'm not saying he's infallible, but in this moment I'm thinking maybe he's even thinking, whoa, what if I'm wrong here? What if there's something I don't know about? The president just pulled a piece of paper out as soon as I started saying no, like he rehearsed this. So he takes the piece of paper, throws the glasses on, and you can see him reading it. You can watch the clip. And he goes, no, this old, no.
Put your hands together for Josh Johnson, everybody.
Like, I've been traveling a lot, and in traveling,
It's hard when you're an adult to look at things that you experienced when you were a kid and not recontextualize them when you get more information. When you're a little kid, the world is face value. Everything that's happening is happening because I guess it's supposed to, or because that's what people do, or everything's very simple when you're a little kid, and then you get older and you see different things, and you look back, and you're like, wow, that's what was going on when I thought things were just normal, And I've been experiencing that a lot with around America with the dollar stores. There are three types of dollar stores. There is Family Dollar, Dollar Tree, and Dollar General. Now, an honorable mention does go out to the 99-cent store. The 99-cent store I want to discuss first, because the 99-cent store is completely unhinged. First of all, they don't have inventory at the 99-cent store. They have what they have, and you either found it or you didn't. You know that you found it or you didn't because what they showcase outside the 99-cent store doesn't make any sense at all. It's just up to the discretion of that franchise owner. The 99-cent store, the store will be here, right? And then they'll just put 2 shower curtains and then 16 potted plants out front. What is this place? Then you walk in and it's like, it's like if somebody truly made a business out of garage. Because when you walk in, nothing has a designated spot or anything. There are things hanging on hooks I didn't even remember had hooks. I forgot that each broom I've owned had a little hook to it. But then when you walk into the 99-cent store, almost like a beaded curtain, you walk through brooms hitting you in your face. The 99-cent store that I went to was so big. It was way too big. It was a warehouse of trash. It was like a hoarder died and then they tried to sell everything. Because the 99-cent store I went to had a stick man. It had a man who would get to the tallest stuff at the top. And this was the worst stick man in stick man history. Admittedly, some of y'all don't know what I'm talking about, and this is a black thing. This is mainly where we shop. There is a stick man. But the stick man was not good at all, because you're used to a stick man getting up there and unhooking something with precision, bringing it down. He might even drop the stick a little bit, catching his hand, hand it to you, right? This stick man was over here. I can't tell if he was nearsighted or farsighted, but he could not see what he was sticking. This man was over here battling. You'd be like, can I get the one up there? He's like, yeah, I got you right now. I got you right now, young blood. Then it falls on the ground. He'd pick it up, dust it off. No, our stick man was trash, and he had okay, look. I need glasses, all right? I'm not better than anybody. I'm not judging. Everybody got their own prescription, and that's their cross to bear, all right? But he had the most specific eyes I have ever seen in my entire life. This man had one Coke bottle and one that was very thin. It seemed like he just needed a monocle, but he was like, nah, I don't trust myself to hold it on my cheek like that. Go ahead and give me glasses and just make one glass transparent glass. Because he clearly only had one bad eye. His eye, this eye had to be good. Because when you would look at him, one eye looked like he was doing this to you. right? Like one eye looked super big and the other eye looked regular. But then when you saw him, when he would turn, you could see both of his eyes were regular size eyes. So that was just the glass. And so he had one like coat, but thick, bulletproof glass on this side, and then one that was very, very thin, right? And he would knock stuff over and go pick it up and everything. And he worked at the 99-cent store since maybe before time. This man had been there a very long time. He might still be there now, I don't know. But everything that's there is not like quality. You know what I mean? It's literally 99 cents in today's economy. This stuff isn't even just made in China. This is up off the floor in China. This is the stuff that they throw away in China that they were like, you want this? All right. If you sure. This is how you could tell these are the worst products ever made in the history of humanity. They are so toxic that whatever you touch, whatever color it is, that's the color you are when you get done touching it. If you touch a green broom, you will pull back a Shrek hand, all right? I had a green broom and a blue dustpan because they were sold separately, you know? Goodness forbid you package them together and they're $1.19. You know what I mean? They were like, we can't have that. We'll have each for 99 cents. And then I bought the green broom and the blue dustpan, and one hand was Martian Manhunter and the other hand was Smurf. I couldn't get my hands back to normal for days. I don't know what they painted that with. Spray paint comes out easier. 99-cent store is trash. And then you get to Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree made the guarantee a long time ago that everything would be $1, and they were the first to break that promise. You want a lesson in life not being fair? You go as a child to the Dollar Tree and buy one of their very illegal, individually packaged Capri Suns. Capri Sun they don't sell them like this. You're not supposed to do this. That's how I knew I was broke sometimes. Like you a kid going into the Dollar Tree for a Lucy Capri Sun. It was terrible, but like, and you know, they don't put them on the shelf. You gotta know if you know. And so you go up there, you like, all right. Feel like I'm buying weed or something. I'm over here, come on, sip, come on. You miming it, you. One time I bought a loose Capri Sun, and the man up in Dollar Tree tried to charge me for the straw. I was like, you are the devil. You are, ooh, I rebuke you. That's crazy. You gonna sell, that's how I can tell you a demon. You gonna sell me the straw separately. What am I supposed to do with this? Suck it with a safety pin? This is crazy. That's insane. This man over here sliding the Capri Sun to me, and I'm looking at him. What's wrong, man? You know, come on. He's like, that's extra, young blood. I'm like, hey, what? From a young age, I could identify with people who rob stores because that was very aggravating. Dollar Tree was over here just, you know, letting themselves run out of inventory. I would go in the Dollar Tree and there'd just be whole spaces, whole sections empty. You know, at least the 99-cent store is packed. Packed to the brim with stuff that doesn't even make sense. The 99-cent store would have one of something proudly. They'd have one of something and the price tag. There was one time I went to a 99-cent store, I saw one bra. That's crazy. I'm like, that's lost and found, if anything. This is, y'all don't have a single other bra in here. And you gotta hang the bra next to the snacks. You know you shouldn't be selling this bra. Because Dollar Tree would let themselves run out of like everything, and then you walk in, it's just bare shelves and stuff. At least the 99-cent store would try to make sense of things. 99-cent store doesn't make any real sense at all, and you can tell because sometimes they'll sell stuff that should be sold for a totally different purpose. I've been very confused in a 99-cent store before. One time, I was in a 99-cent store, and on the shelf, it said 99 cents. So far, everything's checking out. It said 99 cents, and then it said hat. It was a hat for 99 cents, right? But then on the shelf, clearly, is a bucket. That's a bucket. It's a bucket, though. Like it is, like I'm not crazy. That's a bucket. You can make it a hat if you want, if you believe, but that's a bucket. All you gotta do is flip this over on its bottom and put bucket, and we don't have any problems. But hat is crazy. And then when I'm checking out, I bought a broom, I bought a dustpan, and then he's like, and one hat? And I was like, you don't believe that, though. There's no way you believe that. Because it's not a hat, it's a bucket. And I want to be clear, it's not even a bucket hat. It is a bucket. A bucket. So then you have Dollar Tree. Then you have Family Dollar. Family Dollar, I've talked about this before. Family Dollar really helped me pinpoint on the map of life where I was. There's a quote, I'm gonna get it wrong, but there's a quote by, I think it was Nikola Tesla, that said that man's grasp, the reach, it's man's grasp, what is it?
Man's grasp exceeds his reach.
Man's grasp exceeds his reach. And I think, it's man's grasp.
Reach exceeds his grasp.
Man's reach exceeds his grasp. I was like never gonna correct you because I didn't know either, but like, as soon as you said something, it did sound. Yeah. I didn't know either. So man's reach exceeds his grasp, and I think that Family Dollar's inventory exceeds its means, because every year of my life, Family Dollar has been trying harder and harder to be a grocery store. Every time I go up in Family Dollar, they add one more item that they should not have at Family Dollar. I remember the day I went in Family Dollar and saw milk, and I was like, no, we not built for this. A lot of people are gonna get sick, okay? I'm a kid, but I'm still trying to tell adults how to run their business. I was like, y'all don't even have the fridge space for this milk. Come on now. And Family Dollar has always helped me keep track, truly, being honest with myself of where I am on this map of life, right? Because at first, I walked in Family Dollar, I saw milk, and I was like, y'all, don't do this. And 2 years later, I was like, let me go ahead and get the milk. 3%, you say? I've never heard of 3% before. That is interesting. I've never had 3% in my life. Maybe I'll get stronger bones, who knows? So you got Dollar Tree, you got Family Dollar, and then you have Dollar General. Dollar General is the stuff of nightmares. Dollar General is straight out of a horror movie. And I don't say that because of the experiences I've had at Dollar General. I say that because of where they put Dollar Generals. Dollar General will be the last thing you see before you die, and not in a curse sort of way, not in like the Ring sort of way. Dollar General will be put in the middle of a field. Whether you are in the South or the Midwest, the only places Dollar General truly exists and thrives is the middle of nowhere in the South, the middle of nowhere in the Midwest, and the Sahara. I don't know. By the time you see a Dollar General, you're like, is this a mirage? Because I've seen nothing but fields for 30 minutes and then one Dollar General. With a man working there from the 1800s, who knows? Those Dollar General, people that work at Dollar General get bold with you when they're out. When you out in like their area, you at this Dollar General in like Ball, Louisiana. You walk in, it's like, not from around here, huh? It's like, you even talking like the movie. Who says that to a customer? Not even where you from. Not from around here, are you? Oh. Now you can tell a Dollar General is terrifying. Because out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, I'm just talking about my experiences growing up, you know. Out of a Dollar Tree and a Family Dollar, a Dollar General is the least likely to be robbed, all right? I've seen Dollar Generals, you know, be on the news, not for being robbed, for the attempt. Do you know the horror that has to go down for the attempt of a robbery to make the actual news? Nothing got stolen, but everything that happened was still so bad that it made the news. There was a dude who was on the news. I'm pretty sure it was Dollar General, and this dude made the news because they ran up in the Dollar General trying to rob it, which also not a great plan. Dollar General doesn't exactly have a lot of sales going on. And so for all the sales they do have going on, let's just say no Dollar General I've heard of needs a safe, all right? And so to run up at a Dollar General to rob it, you already expecting to run out with like $26, okay? But this man ran up at a Dollar General trying to rob it, right? And not only did they take his gun, they beat him with his gun. And then the getaway driver called the police on them. I'm just curious how that went. Because when you run up in a place to rob it, you at least have what one would hope is the element of surprise. You would hope a place doesn't get robbed so often that they are ready like Neo from the Matrix to snatch the gun out of your hand as soon as you walk in. I'm sure people going in to rob a place have like a rob and walk or like a gun-toting bravado maybe. But imagine being robbed so often that you're like, no, when they come back. Because this is the thing that blows my mind, is that we're in the South, and this dude ran up in a Dollar General to rob it, and they didn't shoot him. The South loves guns. We love guns. And we, like a fever dream, wish we could shoot someone. And then here is someone running in with a gun to do evil. Someone that the law would say, shoot. And the employees at the Dollar General were like, actually, I really prefer hands. Imagine how crazy you have to be, how bad of a week you must be having for somebody to run up in there with a gun out to rob you, and you go, this is exactly what I needed. You know what? Let me tell you something about the Lord, all right? The Lord won't put more on you than you can bear, okay? And the Lord knew people had been trying me all week. People I wasn't allowed to hit. People that I could never put my hands on. And so then the Lord sent you to me at work, the place I hate most, to go ahead and take out a week's worth of frustration on you with the butt of this sawed-off shotgun. Imagine you run into a Dollar General to rob it, gun already out. Hey, everybody freeze, whatever he said. And then the employees turn, and he's like, open the register. And they're just smiling. You don't know what happens next. Maybe a blackout, maybe you watch them take the gun out of your hands because you weren't expecting that, and then you see the butt of the gun coming back real slow. I'm sure the next part is a blur. I'm sure all you really know is you hear yourself getting whooped. It's almost like an out-of-body experience. You forget, was this my gun the whole time? It's not acting like my gun. You wake up. The police are standing over you, and you haven't been arrested. Because all the damage was done to you. Oh, Dollar General, insane. It's crazy, too, because every once in a while, Dollar General will buy a store that used to be a nice store. Like, it used to be like a dope store. Like, truly, it used to be like crazy. Like, I remember there was a place I went with my grandma, and I don't even remember the name. That's how like little I was, where it was just a memory of being with her holding my hand, and us walking into this place. And you know how when you're little, things are bigger? So I'm sure if I went there now, it would look like the size of a regular department store. But she took me to this place, and it was huge. In my head, it was so big, right? And she bought some socks, she bought some other stuff and everything, and then we left. And I remember when I would ride with her, because, you know, I would go with my grandma during the summers or after school. My mom would drop me off at my grandma's because she would still be working and stuff. And so when I'd run errands with my grandma, we'd pass that place over and over. I'd always want to go back inside because I had such a fun memory of, like, there were so many toys, and it's just huge, right? And it had closed. And so my grandma would remind me every time that it had closed, right? And then eventually it became like a dollar store, like a chain dollar store. And I remember it being like, man, that place was cool. and now they sell 3% milk. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I told my friends a story a long time ago about how my friend met this woman online, right? And this was back when meeting people online was still not quite done. It was still new to do that. And the woman that he met wanted to meet up one night, which is exciting because this is why you do it. And she said she wanted to meet up, and he was like, where do you want to meet? And she was like, oh, behind the library. Which should have been a clue. Said she wanted to meet behind the library, and he was like, oh, okay. Which library? Because so she told him which branch. And then they met up, and it just took him too long to realize he was being robbed. Do you know what I mean? It's just... even when he showed up and it was two dudes, he was like, but where's Sarah? It's like, You need to wake up, dude. Sarah's a fiction. And that's the way that I feel about Trump federalizing D.C. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't know how other people feel about it, but I was watching it this morning and watching them talk about it, and it was an interesting speech because you would have thought he would have stayed on crime the whole time, but he definitely diverted a few times. There was one point where I really don't I'm not even joking right now. I genuinely don't understand what he was trying to say, because there was one point where he was talking about how trans people fight or something, and it just started to feel like the kind of conversation you have with someone who is 2,000 years old. It just... It was weird. It was like because it came out of nowhere. It wasn't part of the thing. And then people, are obviously worried, terrified, confused, and everything. Because there are people who are like, he can't do that. That's not legal. And whenever I hear that, I'm like, what are you, a Democrat? This is the goofiest. That's illegal. It's all right. That's what my buddy said when he was getting robbed, too. He was like, this is illegal. Stop. Out of your mind. Hey, that's illegal. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? That's the thing. That's a question that Democrats, constituents ask. That's a question that Trump is asking. That's a question on everybody's mind right now. If you oppose what he's doing, what are you gonna do about it? And I don't know. I'm not gonna act like I know what to do at all because I genuinely don't. I mean, I know that people protested today off of the announcement, off the fact that, like, just imagine you live in DC and Trump says he's gonna, like, deploy the National Guard. And you just, like, not only is crime at this, like, 25, 30-year low, but, like, you just got to the point where you were probably starting to feel kind of safe on the street, and now it's gonna be the National Guard looking at you every day, confused why they're there too. You know? People forget that the armed forces, like, obviously, you know, soldiers are supposed to follow orders and everything like that, but the armed forces are filled with people of differing backgrounds and opinions and everything. So it's not as if everybody that ever gets deployed is excited to be deployed. And it's not as if they're always well taken care of when they are deployed. You know, these people, they signed up to do a service for the country. I'm curious how they feel about being deployed against the people that they're supposed to protect instead of against, like, some foreign invader or something. You know, I'm not gonna act like I know. I've never served or anything, but I've talked to people in the service, and they come from all different types of backgrounds. They vote in all different types of ways, and I'm sure that if you're walking down the streets of DC feeling disheartened, feeling like you're being occupied, there's probably somebody standing there as you walk into work that's like, yeah. I don't know, because it has been on my mind all day, and trying to figure out how to not just, like, talk about it, but say something more than just like, I think that might be bad. Like, I think that we're having a moment a lot like my friend had, where it's like you just have to be very aware of what's happening, because to not be aware doesn't mean the thing will go away, you know? Like, we don't want to be behind a library going, "Where's Sarah?" for our entire democracies. Because that's, yeah. I think that's the thing that I find so, like, aggravating about it, is that he is a person that tells you what he's gonna do, and then he does it. And then there are people who supposedly like him that are positive he's not gonna do the thing they said he was gonna do. They're like, no, he won't do that though. And it's like, then why would he say it? He trolling. Like, he's just like, all right, but what if he's not? No, he wouldn't do the thing he said he'd do. Who does that? You know? Because I'm not gonna act like I know what to do. And I think it's more important for everyone should know who, on every level, their representatives are, and what they do for you, and what they're doing for you right now. And it's easier to hold those people to account when you know who they are. You know what I mean? Like your state senator, or everything down to, like, you know, alderman. Everything. Because it's the fact that these people go unnoticed, the fact that we expect whoever, business people, celebrities, whatever it is, to pick up the slack of the people that were elected to do those jobs, all right? Like, we're in a position now as a country that's very scary, because we look to companies to do some of the work that local government should be able to do. And now we've stripped resources from local government to the point where you do need who knows, Amazon to come in and bring in jobs, because how are we going to get jobs now? Or you need on a state level companies that you give everything to, and they give you very little for the resource that you're missing, you know? And so now we're at a point where some of our infrastructure is completely buckled without us really realizing it. You know, there's been such an influx of money into the economy because of AI and because of the gamble and the race to be number one in AI that all these companies are making. There's been such a rush to build and fill these data centers that money is flowing in a way that, you know, the effect of the tariffs isn't fully being felt. The economy and the like 5 top businesses in the S&P 500 are now carrying most of the weight of the S&P 500. Like we're at a point that's close to tipping, and it's very important for the people to be held accountable. They're actually accountable. You know, it gets very easy to divert and get mad at this person or notice that this person said something. Whatever it is, it's the actual people who vote on these things, who have the power to say yes or no to large companies, knowing that you know where they are and what they do, that holds them to account. As long as you are distracted or you're blaming whatever, the person to blame when it's too late, then things are going to stay the same. You know, representatives, to me, work a lot like when you're out with your friends, and let's say you're like young too, maybe you're like 21, out at a bar or a club for the first time. You don't have any experience with this stuff. You're just the 4 or 5 of you guys all together, buddies in college, going out to like a bar or a club for the first time. You don't really know. You don't have any swag yet. Don't have a ton of confidence. All you know is you see 4 or 5 beautiful ladies across the room, and so you think to yourselves, oh, well, what should we do? One of us should say hello. We should say hello, you know, and then maybe they'll want to come over here, or maybe we can go over there, but it should just be one. If it's all 5 of us, that's just, ooh. You have enough wherewithal to know that all 5 of you approaching at the same time maybe isn't the move. 5 horny men approaching all together. Ooh, doesn't come off well. You know what I mean? If all 5 of you are... it's not going to go fantastic. You know that. So you decide, I'm going to send, we'll send a representative. One of us, the best of us, to make us look good. We'll send them over there. He'll charm everybody, and then we'll walk over and reap the benefits of his hard work. Or maybe he'll be so charming that he'll invite them over to our table, and then we can order drinks for us and them. But we'll know that we sent him, he did a good job, and then he'll come back to us. And so your friends, they start campaigning. They start campaigning with promises, you know? No, I can go over there. I can do it. It's like, no, listen, Daryl, you blink too much, all right? You blink way too much, all right? You gonna run up in there, they gonna think it's a bomb under them or something. You blinking too much. You blinking now. Stop blinking so much. We can't send you over there. You look nervous right now. And so then the group nominates Mark. Mark has at least had a girlfriend. He knows how to talk to women. He's had a girlfriend, he has sisters, and a mom. He knows what to do. Let's get Mark over there. So Mark, elected by the group, goes over there, and even before he walks over, he says something that Mark would say. He stands up and he's like, hey guys, thank you so much. All right, your faith in me means a lot. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna do my best for us, for all of us, okay? I appreciate you all so much, and look, I'm gonna do my darndest. Who knows what the result will be, but your faith in me means the world. No matter what, we're gonna have a great night tonight, okay? See y'all in a second. And then he goes over, he makes his approach. And because Mark is engaging, he's sweet, and he's interesting, he's easy to talk to. And because he's extroverted and he's outgoing, he knows how to approach without creeping or intimidating. And so quickly, you see these 5 ladies having what looks like a really good conversation with Mark. Things are looking up. This is incredible. The body language is phenomenal. Mark is over here working the room. And then Mark makes that motion and he points at y'all. Y'all weren't ready. You didn't know. Everyone was about to look over here. And so Mark points over at you and you're like, Mark turns around and keeps chatting, and after a while, things start to slow down. You don't really know why, but some nods and still a couple of laughs. And then Mark, he doesn't beckon you over. He doesn't give the thumbs up like they're about to head back with him. And he comes back, he sits down, and your dumbest friend is like, how'd it go? And Mark says, well, fellas, they all have husbands. But Mark did his best. And that's not actually his fault. He tried, right? You can send a representative. They can promise to do something, and maybe the thing is bigger than the promise that they made. That is possible. That they tried as hard as somebody could try, and they didn't deliver because the circumstances weren't there. But let's talk about a different scenario, a more common scenario. Maybe Mark was sick. He wasn't even there. He's at home. Your buddy Chet is campaigning. And Chet campaigns on some pretty jarring promises. He's like, look, I'm gonna go over there, all right? I'm gonna be like, what's up? Be like, hey ladies. That'll get their attention real quick, because I'm gonna pop up right in. I'm not even gonna just like stroll up. I'm gonna walk up, and then I'm gonna clear those last 2 steps real fast, really get in their face. Bow, right? Like that. What's up, lady? And I'm just gonna tell them what it is. I'm like, you could have a boring night, or you could have a night with us. And look, Chet is the loudest. He's the loudest. He's the most adamant with the supposedly strongest campaign. And so You elect him, he unfortunately becomes your representative. And you see him off, and he doesn't give a speech like Mark did. He gives a speech like, all right. Next time you see me, I'm gonna be smelling like perfume, all right? And then he walks over, and you see him walk over, and his approach is startling. Because he can't just walk over. He's doing like he's doing a walk that's like kind of Denzel, but if Denzel was severely hurt. You know, Denzel has that swag to his walk. Chet is over here. And then he does what he said he was gonna do. He walks up, and you can't really hear him, but you can see the body language. You don't hear him give his little speech, but you can tell when he gives it because everybody slapped him. And then he walks back over. He sits down. And your dumbest friend goes, how'd it go? And he's like, man, let's get out of here. Everybody's stuck up in here. Oh. And it does feel like that's where we are. Yeah, I mean, we're in a pretty bad situation. There's way more Chets than there are Marks. You know, because I used to look around, especially when I first started touring, even when I was in some of the worst, you know, motels, hotels, like some of the worst, like. But I did the first time I ever got a chance to travel this country at all and meet new people who were from new places that I had never been to before. Not only did I have a good time because I was having these new experiences, but I really felt like I was seeing something really, really beautiful. Everybody wasn't happy and everybody didn't get along. I'm not like pining for a time that didn't exist. I'm just saying that like really getting out for the first time in my life all those years ago felt a lot like walking through that department store with my grandma. It was really special. I look back on it fondly, and I am genuinely afraid that we've gone from that to a dollar store that sells 3% milk.
When I